Yeah, what are our? Well, we can just go over real quick. What are we on? Kaneda's on Combri aggro. So
Correct.
let's go ahead and check out his deck just a little bit. Let's see if there's anything interesting. We can talk about either of these decks or see if it's basically just a regular standard. Combri aggro with 4 copper conduits. So that's interesting. That's not like that crazy, but a lot of people actually don't play with that card.
Yeah, it's a bit unusual. Usually when it pops up, it's in Zen and Killers or in some deck with a Dark Return.
Yeah, single predatory Carnosaur on the main board. But anyway, looks like we are getting into game 1 right now.
Yeah, no wait.
Jock versus Kaneda. We only have Jock's hand cam as far as I'm aware right now, so we'll be just giving you this.
I both. No, we're good, man.
Oh, where is
on your end?
Oh, there it is.
Get it. Anyways, so yeah, so we get a Combri aggro versus the same deck we just saw. Interesting. Yeah. Pretty decent hands by both players.
Yeah, not bad right off the start. That's interesting. I didn't realize Jock was playing Charchain in the main. I think I had mentioned it at some point, but yeah, he is playing 2 Charchain flails, so that might actually prove to be kind of useful here.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. With Charchain flail, it's always a question of when do you play it.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And we do see Kaneda's hand, like he's got the he'll have like the Desert Marshal answered if you want, but at the same time, like his hand's really slow. If he's especially if he waits for any of these cards to actually go off for value, like he's just gonna be like reactionarily playing like two mana 2/1s. And he doesn't have anything until 6.
Yeah, note him electing not to he played the Combri banner rather than the seat, so he was not able to leave up Desert Marshal, but at the same time, I imagine Valkyrie is going to be silencing this Champion of Chaos.
Yeah, we'll probably see Valkyrie come down here. For Jock himself, I imagine we'll get like a Suffocate in response, and maybe at that point, like you drop the Charchain Flail down as like a 3 cost and just start beating.
I like that. Yeah, I would like to do so. I imagine we'll see some Charchain beatdowns here.
Yeah, like now that you have or not now rather, but since you have the Death Strike in hand, I definitely don't mind getting like the Flail down.
For sure.
You've got at least an answer to his next unit, and that's all you're really worried about.
It's not as though 3/1 Charchain is a relevant card either. It kills plenty of units.
Yeah, definitely. It'll kill this Desert Marshal or this Initiate. Not that you're really looking to be dragging the Charchain into the Initiate, but it's not terrible either. This stops him from playing Carnosaur next turn.
Correct. Note the Initiate has transformed the Reinarch.
Oh yeah, it has as well. So yeah, he will have the 5/5 to play next turn. That's not very fun. He's got the 5/5 into the 6/6, so we're gonna see Jocked. If he elects to Death Strike the Reinarch, which I'm having a feeling he might, he's gonna be short of an answer for this Predatory Carnosaur.
Yeah, and the Carnosaur could just dominate this game. Also, I kind of expected a Furnace Mage on 4, but I guess the Death Strike comes down now because Furnace Mage, if you're going to Death Strike, you're hitting the next big creature, then Furnace Mage is free damage, and then he draws the second Furnace Mage.
Yeah, and that's kind of unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for Jock that he's seeing these Furnace Mages too, because Kaneda actually does play Vodkin Staff in the main board. Like they actually do have targets for once in the matchup.
Yeah, but they are on the Relic Light side. Like of all the decks we saw today, this is probably the deck I went Furnace Mage against the least.
It's one of them. It's definitely one of them. Yeah. That Predatory Carnosaur is going to be a huge thorn in his side, though. Umbran Reaper, in theory, it looks really good. And then you realize that he has 2 Desert Marshals in it.
Yeah, it's just Desert Marshal bait. We've seen this play out like dozens of times. It feels like Umbran Reaper has big dreams, and then Desert Marshal just
don't you swing with the 6/6? Well, maybe you don't because you need to block the 3/3. Like I guess he needs to block the 3/3 bad enough.
Yeah, I don't like swinging. It's fun. He's comfortably slided into the control role, at least for now.
Yeah, let's see if see what he can follow up to, because I mean Jock has the the Death Strike for the Carnosaur.
Yeah, Jock was or not Jock. Kaneda was unwilling to 6/6 into 5/1 there. He doesn't want to lose his 6/6 to Vara's favor or something like that. Yeah, unfortunately, this Death Strike is relevant. So
Yeah, the Death Strike being very relevant, taking down the 6/6 and
second
another
Umber
Umber Reaper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
mean
second Desert
it's
Marshal.
yeah, but it gets it out, I guess. And the Furnace Mage as well, like has text. It is a 4/3, unlike Ruin. So
Ooh, that's really good.
yeah, Sandstorm Titan's really good. It also I like the Sandstorm Titan. It forces his hand. You'll have to ask Jock's turn. Like, I mean, I like Sandstorm Titan to hold up Desert Marshal. I mean, obviously you're playing the Titan, but I think you
Yeah,
can wait on the Marshal.
yeah, I think he was deliberating there for a second on whether or not he should play the Titan, and I think I think playing the Titan's correct, but there is like an argument to the line of play where you just pass and you like Desert Marshal the Umber Reaper to get the trade off there, and you're only taking 3 plus
Right.
like worst case a torch to go to 1,
Why would you
and then you can
pass?
safely.
That doesn't make sense. You need to block the 3/3 with the 5/6. But anyways,
You wouldn't have the 5/6 down, is what I'm saying. You would pass because you don't care about taking 3 damage over the fact that this Umber Reaper is not going in theory. Like he might just be holding back this Umber Reaper for a little bit now, and
I don't no I don't see why killing the 5/1 body even matters. You always have the Desert Marshal.
you always have the Desert Marshal until you have to tap out. Like that, I guess that's the issue, is that there will be a point where he has to tap out. Like maybe he just goes in here, maybe he doesn't. It's I guess he's just trying to go wide at this point. You can't really get around the Sandstorm Titan though. Like he's gonna have to find a third Death Strike to go ahead and pick up the Titan, or an Annihilate if he plays him.
Yeah. I mean, you could just silence the Umber Reaper here. It's going to stay silenced. It never. I don't see the hesitation or anything, but we're not quite at that step yet. We're still in the main phase. Jock is debating an attack, but this attack is not great.
Yeah, and he's mousing over both. Like he's gonna try and force them in essentially.
Well, he doesn't know what the Desert Marshal though, so that's the idea.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah, of course. But even then, I don't know. I'm still scared to make that, knowing that there are Desert Marshals in the deck. Like when I look at my hand and I look at the board, like Desert Marshal just loses you the game.
yeah, especially because he played the Furnace Mage too, so that bit of nerves, like that unsureness. Is he vanquishing this? I guess you can. It's all right.
As long as you got Sandstorm Titan, like you're protected from the air, so I guess it's not terrible to just vanquish it and start getting the damage in. You're gonna get the damage in regardless, though. One would assume.
Yeah, if he top decks Impending Doom. The thing is, your 5/6 beats Torch plus 4/3 if you vanquish. Well, it doesn't beat Torch plus 4/3. I mean, you could just vanquish, but honestly, Torch is going upstairs, so that's not really that relevant.
Yeah, it's probably going upstairs though. I mean, there's some argument that you have to clear the unit, and then maybe you can get some other things down.
You just have to draw so many more spells than your opponent.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, is Torch going upstairs? Like, if you assume that you're not going to connect again right now, like maybe Torch goes upstairs, but then you still need to draw 3 torches because you only have. I don't think he's playing any main. I would need to check, but I don't think he is. Yeah. Which makes it hard to get through. He really needs. He's got the mauls. Like Stone Scar Maul would be nice to pick up here, even to just beat this Titan down. Power Sigil, not what he's looking for, or not Power Sigil, rather.
Yes, Seed of Chaos.
Power. Yes,
yeah.
a power. 1 sigil.
Yeah, of course. At this point, he's not looking to draw any more power. But it's a bit of a lock. Honestly, this game is not over. He has outs.
Yeah, he does have a few outs, but they are few and far between.
Infernal Tyrant would be good. There is a Vanquish, unfortunately, but Infernal Tyrant's still fine. Gain 2 life. He doesn't know about the Vanquish. Without the Vanquish in his hand, this Infernal Tyrant is very powerful because it just outsizes the other 2, prevents attacking. Unfortunately, it's going to get vanquished, and then there's going to be a beatdown this turn.
Yeah, and this clock is just getting faster and faster now, and the Furnace Mage can't block anything.
No, he's just watching it happen.
We'll see Student come down, I imagine, as a 3/3.
Yeah, for sure. Canada does all in. Jock just has nothing. If he doesn't draw he's just dead this turn.
Yep.
So that's going to be the game 1. Worth noting, both these players, these are new finalists to the ETS series. These guys have never made finals, so congratulations to both of them so far.
Yeah, congratulations. They've definitely gotten all the way here, and playing 2 decks that were decently underrepresented in the tournament, I would say. Like Stone Scar Burn, I think had 4 decks in the tournament, but nothing was even close to I I think it was Felonscar this week. Felonscar had like 8 decks or something like that.
Yeah, well, this again. There's like this weird distinction between like Stone Scar Burn and Stone Scar mid range. You know, once you play Infernal Tyrant, that's a mid range deck.
Yeah,
So,
and the mauls and things like that. We're seeing like, and the char chain flails like that definitely leads for me anyway towards like the more mid range. Like you're playing the char chain flail, so you can have like some damage and some removal, just kind of on the stick. And yeah, we're seeing him side out right now, deliberating over the Furnace Mages. Let's go ahead and pull up. I'm actually looking at the Cumbri aggro player too. Let's look at Canada's sideboard or Kanida. I'm not sure.
Kanida. It's like a Gurren Lagann vibe.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So Kanida, let's check his sideboard. So he's got an Infinite Hourglass on the sideboard, 2 Protects, 3 Decays, 3 Scorpion Wasps, 4 Copper Hall Elites, a Great Parliament, and a Vanquish. So I have to imagine like the Vanquish is definitely coming in. That's
the
like
Vanquish is excellent. Copper Hall Elite is very good. I'd argue it's probably better than Titan in this matchup.
Yeah, Copper Hall Elite's great with that Aegis. Like you know your opponent's playing a lot of removal. It's a multicolored card with Aegis. Like,
yeah, exactly, and it's well sized too. At 4/4, like it can trade with a under sigiled champion.
Yeah,
it's like tax into statuary maiden, at least trades. But most importantly, it's just the way it interacts with the removal spell.
Certainly. I feel like maybe you pull some obelisks out here. Like maybe you don't need obelisks in this matchup as much. Like I don't think.
Yeah, generally against the mass spot removal deck, obelisk is a bit less great, especially because currently we're seeing him boarding. He has 12 4-drops in this deck. I have to imagine if you're going to trim any of these 4-drops, obelisk could be the first one to go.
Yeah, obelisk would be quick on the chopping block for me, certainly. I mean, and he's still 5 cards short, so you cut out like 3 or 4 obelisk right there. Boom.
Yeah, I prefer Vatican staff to obelisk as well in this sort of matchup because what's likely going to happen is the game's going to go long, and it's going to your Stone Scar opponent's going to try to grind you out, and then once you hit 8, you can just keep recurring the staff, and then every single unit you have is a huge threat. But the problem with obelisk is that if you're reduced to 1 or 2 units, then you're only getting +1/+1 or +2/+2 or something.
Yeah, which isn't terrible, but you're right. Like on 1 or 2 units, it's just not nearly as effective as the Vodkin staff. Like the Vodkin staff is always +3/+. You don't have to build it up.
Correct. He is trimming the staff though. He sees it differently. He's not touching these obelisks. He's also looking at Combra Healer, which as I said, nobody cuts Combra Healer for some reason, but the card is very cuttable against all these mid-range decks. Like they just go over the top of it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the suspect cards. I'm not too against it when you're playing against Stone Scar, particularly. Like, I don't necessarily hate it. Just because the life gain is sometimes more than incidental. Like, sometimes that +3 over like 2 combo healers is the 6 life you need to survive. So, I'm not necessarily opposed to cutting it. I'm also not particularly in favor. I don't actually like him cutting the Copper Hall Elites though. I was in agreement with you there completely. Like,
yeah,
I
he's
like
playing
Hall
0.
Elites.
He's just playing 0 of the card that I thought was the better cards in the matchup. So interesting, but
yeah,
we'll see how it plays out in game.
With this, so
I don't know. I'm not giving an assumption. Maybe he knows something we don't. I mean, it is pretty poor against deadly units. Like, if there's any of that, like it's outsized by Infernal Tyrant as well. But then again, so is the Titan.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things. Titan's weakness, though, is like we were saying, like not having that Aegis makes it so much more susceptible to annihilate Death Strike, which Jokt is going to be playing like a fair number of. He probably kept all of them in, if not brought in extra one.
Yeah, it's an excellent hand by Jokt. Decent hand by Kanida. Bit power heavy because it's 2 Amber Acolytes. They're like half a card, so he could just float out from this point.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Like he gets the 2/1 body. Mangush, nice pickup. It might just get the Cabal Countess early. It could get something later though. So let's see what we have here. Jock picking up a Torch. Torch is really nice.
Yeah, Torch is solid. Doesn't do too much against his or Kanida's current hand. Seraph is going to come down. It's going to be immediately suffocated, I assume. Oh, well, Amber Acolyte first, sorry. When Seraph does come down, it will be immediately suffocated. That is the fate of Seraph.
Yeah, Kanida, they're just going ahead and getting the Amber Acolyte down first. That way he can get the Titan down on 4. He knows he's guaranteed to draw the power and he doesn't stumble.
Correct. Yeah, I imagine we'll be seeing it was an end of turn Countess, and then probably just an ultimate.
Yeah. If he plays the Titan here, are you open to double torching this? Like, do you double torch the Titan?
I would play the Countess first. That might be an option down the line, but
Yeah. Maybe like on your turn. Like let's go to like his turn exactly. Like he has the Countess down. He's got the 3/3. Your opponent's tapped out. Like, are you willing to throw 2 torches and like a suffocate, and then just
yeah,
run him over for 9 damage? You
I
get
am. I'm willing. I think that's fine. So you saw a bit of tension with Connie, the Awakened student. Really wanted to be played on that turn, but it would delay his Titan. Statue remains interesting. So Ultimate is the play that pushes the most damage immediately, but it is cold to vanquish. He's just willing to 2-for-1 himself here.
Yeah, I favor this to ultimating. I'm not actually a fan of the ultimate here because I'd rather like put the torches to use and just try and clean up the Titan. You could push a little bit more damage with the 6/1, and it's not going to get blocked, but it just gets blocked by Amber Acolyte, and then it just gets vanquished, like you had said on the way back. So
Yeah, he's trying to sculpt a turn of Saturated Maiden plus removal spell, although this turn doesn't feel great. I guess the issue with playing Saturated Maiden and then just passing is, a silence effect. If he knew Connie at his hand, he would have just slammed the Saturated Maiden in the past, I believe. But
yeah, I'm definitely in agreement. I think he would have gotten the Statue Maiden down instead of maybe the torch play. But this will work out okay. Kaneda got some interesting choices here, though. Like, he's debating on just going ahead and getting this fat boy Copper Conduit down as a 4/4, and that might be good. I think I'm not sure actually what I like to do here. I think I want to get the Amber Acolyte down though. Like, I think getting the extra power and just like being able to play more cards in your hand is important than this.
I imagine he wants to develop the power from the Amber Acolyte with his Awakened student, and that's influencing a lot of his decisions right now.
Yeah, and like I have to admit, you do miss that, but I think just getting the 2/1 Amber Acolyte, the power, and the Awakened student down is important, especially if you consider like he picks up an extra power, and all of a sudden that Copper Conduit that he played this turn on 4 as a 4/4 would have been a 6/6.
For sure, for sure. But 4/4 is a fairly good sizing, anyways.
It's not bad. It gets run over by a few things, but it's looking like it's not going to matter too much here. Jock's not going to have an immediate answer to this 4/4. He's only got the torch and the suffocate, both of which are going to miss this pretty.
Yeah, so this puts Kaneda ahead in tempo, but it isn't anything insurmountable, I believe, because he still gets to go Stones or Saturated Maiden plus Torch on the 2/2.
Well, yeah, you actually. Ooh, he's considering. Yeah, I guess you actually do torch it in this case, since
Yeah,
you can
Torch
save
is
suffocate for
definitely
Seraph.
better. You need Seraph. You need to kill Seraph, so Torch is much better. And then on your turn, you'll be taking the 4 from the Copper Conduit because you'll have a 4/6. Or you could just suit it up now. I guess he's playing around Vanquish though, so yeah, suiting it up now doesn't really work.
Yeah, playing around Vanquish actually the correct play there, since the Vanquish would have just cleaned up the Saturated Maiden and the Cudgel and allowed him to just roll another 4 damage. So
yeah,
a little bit of a heads up play there.
He could just use his life total. It's fine. He's at a healthy 18. Doesn't matter that much.
18's not too healthy when you're about to get bashed for 4 and you know the Vodakins is sitting in hand. Like, he takes 4, he goes to 17. The staff comes on and hits him to 7 if it's unblocked, and it still rolls through anything that blocks it. It's starting to get ugly, but for now, Jock's kind of stabilized a little bit with the stature of Aiden.
Yeah. We got
Kaneda's going to go ahead and offer the 4/4. Yeah, and it just gets passed by. Not too surprising there.
Yeah, trading. He might trade down the line, but he's going to see if he can extract the value from this suffocate first.
Yeah, which he will get. Like, he'll get the extra cudgel here, and now you can kind of suit up both your minions with the cudgels. That way you can actually, like, even when the Vanquish kills the Statuary Maiden, like, you still have the 5/5 here to block. It's unfortunately going to be weak to the Vodakин staff, but you can't play around everything, you know.
Yes, Furnace Mage.
Yeah, but the Furnace Mage doesn't come down first, so he's guaranteeing that he's eating 7 to the face.
Correct, but he's going around. I mean, he will be at 6, but the Furnace Mage can trade with the Conduit and like can trade with the Conduit in the future and answer the staff now. And honestly, he's not even developing the staff here. He wants the double block on the 5/5.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I get his line of play though. Like I can respect that. Umbran Reaper though gonna be big here. Like without a silence to go on this Umbran Reaper, not only is it able to push in for 5 in the air, but it can also just blow itself up when it needs to.
Yeah, Umbran Reaper, very powerful on this board. Just threatens to end the game like flat out, and then here Kanida's hand only lets him be aggressive.
Yeah, like he gets the initiate down here, so that pushes his power to 8, which means Suraf can go off next turn, and any power he hits can make the Vodkin bigger.
Yeah, but barring some ridiculous Suraf activation, like Suraf activation doesn't really matter in the face of five flying, with a potential Entomb Rider.
It kind of does though. I mean, there's a bunch of Justice units that are flyers that could be pulled that will even survive the Umbran Reaper.
Well, yeah, but the odds aren't good. I mean,
no, they're not good. But you play to whatever you can.
Sure, but there's a second Umbran Reaper as well.
Yeah, the second one kind of sealed it. The first one was like maybe a Seraph activation can handle this, but
let's see some. I want some straight Hearthstone level Seraph right now, like Sandstorm Titan.
No, Sandstorm Titan's not good enough because he just swings in with the 5/1s.
Yeah, it's not good enough, but it gives us a bit of a.
Ooh, that was almost good enough.
That was close.
That was really close, especially if he could have suited it up with the Vodkin staff and gotten like 5 health back, so that the Umbran effect got wasted.
Oh, I can think of one. Roland's Honor Guard.
Ooh, Roland's would have been good too.
Yeah, but that's gonna end the game flat out. Yeah. We'll see game 3. Umbran Reaper just came down. There's too much early pressure from the Stonescar deck as well. Like the board was contested, but I feel like those, trading damage favors Stonescar, especially when he has a very solid draw on the play.
Yeah, and we also just Kanaya doesn't draw any silences here, and that kind of ruins. Like not having any silences to answer the Umbran Reaper pretty bad. Umbran Reaper is super value. Really need
absolutely
silences to answer.
Like I said, we've seen Desert Marshals eating Umbran Reapers all day, but sometimes it just isn't there, and then what happens?
Then Umbran Reaper gets to be an actual card again.
Yeah, it's a really good card when it is a card. So
instead of 5 mana, die to 2 drops. But let's flip back over to these boards. I think we are on Jock's screen right now. Are we taking a look at his boarding? Yeah, looking at him, and he's just deciding that he's good with his deck. He is comfortable, especially after that matchup. Getting it back to 1-1. He's feeling like his sideboard plan worked out pretty well. We're seeing Kanata over here just making some slight adjustments, more looking at his deck than anything. I haven't seen him start cutting or adding cards. I think he's just kind of like mousing it over and considering what he wants.
For sure.
Ooh, interesting. He's gonna bring in Parliament and take out an Obelisk. I kind of like that actually. And as we said, I'm a bigger fan of cutting the Obelisks anyway. So bringing in a different 4-drop to actually be able to play it. That instead of the Obelisk, like I like Parliament too. Like the 4/4 owls are just cool. Like it's surprising how often a 4/4 owl for 4 is.
They trade with it's just a good rate, but yeah, they trade with Umbran Reaper. Also, as I said, as these players trade resources, like both decks have an aggressive slant, but as they trade resources, and as they both try to be aggressive, they will inevitably push to about turn 8 or so, where Parliament can be 2 4/4s.
Yep, and 4 mana, 2 4/4 flyers is pretty good.
That is a horrible hand.
Yeah.
Also a horrible hand. Okay. Well, we're going in blind. Thankfully, Kanida's hand is fine, and Jock's hand is also fine, although a bit less fine. Yeah, 2 6s, but he'll get to play a spell this game. 3 6s.
Oh, that's really slow. Oh, that's really slow. Yeah, he's going to need to get to the late game and have this Stonescar Maul and these Infernal Tyrants put in a lot of work here.
Yeah, I keep trash talking Infernal Tyrant, but we'll see if it can, win him the finals. Because this is it. This is the tournament.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice if Infernal Tyrant actually did something. Argentport Instigator, good pickup here. Really solid pickup, gives him something to do on turn 2, 3, since turn 4 is still his earliest play in the hand before that.
Yep. Probably the best draw in his deck, honestly. Just turn 2 are gonna like it's so much damage usually. Here I imagine Combat Healer will come down and then just bump off the 3/3, prevent any early damage from being dealt.
Yeah, this is why I don't hate Cumber Healer in the in like the Stone Scar matchup. Like it doesn't trade favorably with a lot of things, but it blocks the 3/3 fine, gets you a bit of health.
Yeah, it's an okay card. I don't know if you would need to leave in all 4 was my point earlier. But
Yeah,
as for the game, it's interesting. I guess he's just going to develop Copper Conduit here. I think 4/4 is a fine size.
I actually like getting the 3/3 flyer down here with the silence. Like I'm actually in favor of that since due to priority, you know that Jox doesn't have the torch. Like just getting the 3/3 down, you can push within the air is a lot better than getting the conduit down because the conduit's just going to be able to trade into these.
I
Like
feel like the silence is too valuable for what you're suggesting.
maybe, but you had a second one. Like you were just gonna, so you silence the Argent port, and then this happens where he plays the statue rate, and then you just silence it again, and now you've got 6 damage in air, which is a real clock.
Sure, but there's almost no limit to like how useful silence is against deck. There are like 15 targets or so that are great to silence. Like I'm gonna ignore Argent and Skater as a target, but Statuary Maiden, not really Infernal Tyrant, in Champions, Umbran Reaper. It's like that's at least 10 units, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of units to silence. I just like I'm in favor of getting the body down early. Like I think sometimes you need the like I think especially given Kaneda's hand size versus Jock, like he doesn't know what Jock's holding, but like we can obviously see it, and he's gonna need to find like value really quickly. Jock's hand is just chock full of threats. Still has to find 2 sigils. Like he still needs to find 2 more sigils to get to those 6 drops, but he does have 3 6 drops. That's kind of enough by itself.
Yeah, these Infernal Tyrants will dominate the ground. They'll either just trade 2 for 1 or just trade 1 for 1 in a double block, but gain you a ton of life on the way. Which kind of makes the flying plan look poor because you're dealing 6 a turn, but Infernal Tyrant just yeah. What do you do with this Combray Healer?
I put the Combray Healer on one of the 3/3. That way it doesn't die to torch.
I was just debating if you wanted to play it like post, like just wait and play it after the Rhine-Arc, because 5/8 on the ground matters, whereas 3/6 on the air dies to basically it doesn't die to torch, but you already have one that does die to torch. So
yeah, true. I think at this point though, you're just like trying to force through as much damage in the air. Like your worst case is like, oh, he's gonna torch it, because at this point, Kaneda's gameplay is I'm just gonna beat you to death 6 in the air with these the 3/3 and the 3/6. Like that's the extent of his game plan. And as long as Infernal Tyrant doesn't come down, that plan will continue to work.
Yeah, but a single power and then Infernal Tyrant is just gain 8. So he realistically has 2 more turns.
Yeah, but even when it comes down, it gains 8, and then you can trade it off with the Copper Conduit. Now the second one, that's a completely
that is a dagger. It's a straight dagger. He's not dead though. He's not dead, and he gets to develop yet another this attack.
Yeah, I like the attack here. I think
it's fine. He has a second one. It's unlikely that he'll lose for it because he has enough toughness to bounce off all the big creatures. So he'll be putting Jock at 3. This Combray Healer can go on a 6/9 or something, but ground attacks are still terrible.
Well, if you board swing here, what actually happens?
Board swing?
Yeah, if you board swing here, I mean, think about the board swing.
Just makes great blocks and you lose the game.
I don't think you do though. You have overwhelm on 2 units. He has to make really poor blocks actually. He has overwhelm on 2 units, and if 2 of them went through, then
yeah, but he could have something as well. He has 5 open as well.
Yeah, but
I think it has to be a terrible attack.
Priority passes, like you haven't seen any priority passes. I think it might have honestly been lethal there. Like,
I guess
if it's not lethal, he had to block off the Champion of Chaos, and he had to block off his 1 good statue.
It's true. He's getting punished here as well. I'd be interested to see if it was lethal, but we have to keep the pace. So these 3/6 beats. He's at 7. The second Infernal Tyrant's going to gain a ton of life again. Initiate the Sands comes down. I mean, it's just Fires versus Infernal Tyrant at this point, and Infernal Tyrant 2 can make this just suicidal attack. Does not care about his own life.
Yeah, I mean, this Infernal Tyrant right here is going to gain, 12 back? So he goes to 19, and then the second Infernal Tyrant crashes, he goes to 25.
Yeah, this is easily the best I've ever seen this card be.
Yeah, like, this is the reset. Like, this right here, like, this Infernal Tyrant is where you bring it in. Like, this is the type of matchup I'm okay with bringing it in. I don't like it against like the TJP control deck, but against something like Combri aggro, where you're just trying to keep your life up and beat them to death. Like, this is pretty good. You
Yeah.
got a full
Also,
reset out of it.
also, so he has a decent block of 2/5 plus 2/2, but the problem with this block is there's still cudgels involved.
Yeah, like the 2/5 is still gonna die. Like, he's gonna take off a 2/5. He gets a cudgel and he gains 6 life, and that's the more important part. Like, he's setting his life total back far enough that he's gonna start to be able to run over him with these champions, because both the champions of chaos are online. They're very hard to block.
Yeah, one of them can be he can wait with them, trade away his Infernal Tyrant, and then attack with them as 7/7s, and they'll have no good blocks whatsoever. And his life total went from 3 to 25. That's the power of Infernal Tyrant.
Yep, that is when it goes off. Like, he had the full board full of creatures and just soaked up all that health, and all of a sudden, this game that it looked like Jock was just like sliding out of very quickly, he immediately puts the brakes on, right back in it. Let's see. Does finally decide to put the cudgel on the Stature Maiden, so he's got the 4/6 Maiden to be able to defend with and maybe start poking around with if he really wants to. Like, it just dies to the 6/6, but
It makes it a better blocker. It's a little dubious because normally earlier you introduce Vanquish as an answer to your Maiden, but honestly, Vanquish has 4 relevant targets right now, so that doesn't matter.
Personally, I kind of actually like the cudgel on either the Tyrant or one of the Champions of Chaos. Like, I kind of like.
I would have sat on the cudgel. I would have sat on the cudgel for later use on the champions, as I said earlier. But honestly, the Infernal Tyrants have just created 22 life. So, and all County that really had going for him was
yeah. What are we looking at here? Like, this board state's just getting weirder and weirder. Like, the Stone Scar Maul is going to be able to maybe pick off a flyer. You probably just put it into the 6/6. Yeah, just stop him from being able to block you efficiently, and now you run everything in.
Yeah, you can suit up the 8/8. Or suit up. Yeah, you suit up the Tyrant. Tyrant is 8/8s. These are all amazing attacks. You don't need to attack with the Maiden. Any of the Maidens. They'll keep the ground locked up. There are no good blocks. There are terrible blocks.
I'm not terribly like off put by swinging with the Maiden there. Like, you probably just keep it back for defense, but you already know you're gaining 8 life here. Like, you're going to 24. Your health is slowly becoming a non-issue. Maybe getting the extra 4 in, or forcing him, like, at best he could have killed it by triple blocking or blocking like the Reinarch and an extra unit into it, and you still got 2 cudgels and took off 2 units.
That's fair. Yeah, I think you're right. Attacking is fine because you're going back to 24 and you have a pair of 2/4s on defense. And let's see, 18. It's not lethal either way, but the Reinarch here is blocking.
Yeah, so we're gonna see a double block come out here, and
this
that's
can't
probably
feel great.
the right double block. But yeah, I mean, he's up to 24, and these Champions of Chaos are just like unstoppable at this. Like, they're just going to roll through, and he's gonna get cudgels on them. Oh, this is so hard to do anything about. Like, this is just getting farther and farther out of hand.
Yeah, it
and
looks like
Puma. Like, he has the lifesteal Puma if he gets threatened again.
I think we're just looking at our champion, honestly. I think Jock just has this. This is great. This is his first tournament. Like, I remember the last finals like 2 weeks ago, yeah, nice close game. Like, I remember there being some pivotal point with like the Navani and whatnot, but then this one, it's pretty ruthless. Like, it's like a 3-game series, but this game, after those Infernal Tyrants came down.
Yeah, the Infernal Tyrants kind of just did like take it away.
They gained over 30 life together.
Yeah, like they just took the whole game away. Like, they healed him up way too much. Like, Jacked is sitting at negative like 15 before the Tyrants right now. He's so far in the negatives. This game was over so many turns ago if those Infernal Tyrants hadn't come down. And like, they just came down and were so efficient. Like, the second one coming down and picking up 12 life, and then the second one swinging, or the first one still being able to swing and picking up the extra 6 for an 18-point life swing in a single turn.
Yeah, for sure. And these cudgels just come down. Mixed blocking terrible. There's a 9/9 as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good suffocate value, getting the 3/6 air unit down.
Yeah, but more importantly,
Gets
it's
another
the second
cudgel.
cudgel. Yeah.
Yeah, so you just drop the extra cudgel on the 9/9, then right? It swings as like an 11/11, and you just say like, "Good luck killing me."
Yep.
Like you're guaranteed to take basically 10 from the unit. Like you're probably not putting anything in front of it since it is such an unattractive block. So you're taking 11, and you have to still block around the other units.
Yeah, this is a lethal attack. So he's forced to block. He's basically forced to block everything that isn't a champion of chaos.
Yeah, he can probably go like 3/6 into 2/4, the 2/2 into the 2/2/2s into the 2/4, the 1/1 into the 4/6, and oh man.
It's mostly hopeless. You know, unless he snuck a harsh roll into his deck or something. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to take care of that Champion of Chaos with. Like, it's
I mean, this is his tournament life, to be fair, so you can't really say he's like soaring or whatever. You know, this is his last game, so we'll give him some time. But it's just I think you go like 3/6 on 2/4 with a 2/2, and 8/8 eats 2/4, initiate chumps 4/6, then go to 2, and then hope you draw something that isn't in your deck.
yeah. It depends on where you want to put the conduit, really. Like, I think any blocking here is dependent on where you think the conduit needs to go. Like, does it need to go into the 5/5 champion? Do you need to block the 11/11 and make sure it dies, and then just like chump as best you can around the rest of the board? It's a hard call, and you're going to lose almost all your minions here, no matter how you block. So the Statuary Maiden is just going to pump out a bunch of cudgels. It's hard to call. Like he's still deliberating, trying to figure it out. Maybe you put the 3/6 and one of the 2/2s into the 5/5. Yeah, it looks like
these decisions, but I don't know. Like
yeah, it's which foot do you want to shoot yourself?
I'd be thinking about I'd be thinking about dinner or something. I wouldn't be. Yeah, like this game is like.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is pretty over. That might even I think yeah, he avoided lethal, albeit barely. No, he didn't actually. He
He's
ate
dead.
lethal. Yeah.
I mean that's how he chose to go at 0. I can respect that.
Yeah, definitely. Man, really close game there. Like, kind of just got pulled away at the end by the Infernal Tyrants, but before that, like, it was really. I thought Kaneda honestly was going to have it, but those Infernal Tyrants getting to 6 mana, like, just
Congratulations to
away.
Jocked. We're gonna go to the analyst desk. Only like 30 seconds, but I guess like shows what I know. Infernal Tyrant, man. Just gaining 30 life.
Yeah, Infernal Tyrant. It's kind of like what we were discussing. Like, I'm in agreement with you where, like, Infernal Tyrant is not a great card by itself. But there are very specific matchups, like the Combri aggro matchup, where, like, your health becomes enough of an issue that the card gets just a lot better. And that was a perfect example of it. Like, the Infernal Tyrants just made the race basically a non-issue. Like, he took the race out of the equation. So, you know, big props to Jocked. Big props to him for going ahead and bringing this one down with his Stone Scar mid-range deck. And also, you know, big props to Kaneda. One of his first, maybe not his first tournaments, but definitely one of his first top 8s. And I mean, he got second place. So both of these people will be qualified for the ETS Invitational, which will be taking place at the end of next month, I believe. Or it's the start of this month. I can't remember. One or the other. It happens at some I need to get the dates on that.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's enough of us. We're gonna be moving over to other people, but I think we'll be on in a second. But if not, have a great night.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody who turned up. We are going to go ahead and ship you to the analyst desk, where we are going to have. First we'll have a quick word from Reckonar, our tournament organizer, and then we will ship you over to the analyst desk for a post-tournament wrap-up from them. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. This has been Beardris.
And this is Vavail.
And we will be kicking you to Reckoner and then Loco Pojo and J Knight. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Hello. This is Reckoner, the TO for today's event. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to all of our great players for coming out. Our event was a little bit smaller this week than last week. We did hear a lot of people saying that they were going to be at the MTG pre-release. I cannot blame them. Also, thank you to all of our viewers for coming out. We had about 250 simultaneous viewers as our peak. That's fantastic. Coming out for a weekly. And of course, congratulations to both Kaneda, our second place finisher, and Jocked, our first place finisher. That was a fantastic finals. It really looked like it was going to go one way in that game 3, and then suddenly the game turned around. The Infernal Tyrants did work. So I want to say, first of all, this is our third broadcast. We broadcast the Eye of Winter. We broadcast a weekly 2 weeks ago, and this is our third broadcast. Give us feedback. We'd love to hear feedback from you guys. You can contact me or aReNGee on Discord, on Twitch, emailing us. If you go to aReNGee Eternal, our emails are there. And positive feedback, criticism, but try to make it constructive. But we know we're not perfect, but we want to keep getting better every single week. And as long as we're getting better, I'm happy. So, but yeah, come out to aReNGeeeternal.com. That is aReNGeeeternal.com. We have deck lists, we have tier lists, we have draft tier lists. We have information on the ETS events. Next week, we are running the final weekly on Saturday, and then the last chance qualifier on Sunday. The final weekly both events follow the same format of Swiss cutting to a top 8. The final weekly has the same rules of top 2 get invited to the invitational, and everyone who wins the series gets invitational points. But the LCQ is a bit different. Everyone who makes top 4 at the LCQ will be invited to the invitational, which is in 2 weeks from now. It will be a 32-player tournament that will actually take place over the span of 2 days. Unlike these events where we only show one game from top 8, top 4, we will actually be showing every series in the, I believe, top 6 is our current plan for the invitational. Also, the weekend after the invitational will be our Pillars of Amar tournament, which is a unified team tournament. Once again, you can get all the details on those events at aReNGeeeternal.com. And finally, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/aReNGeeeternal. All of our stuff, all of our content on the website's free. We're putting out these tournaments, for the good of the community. And if you can give back, we would appreciate it. But no pressure. And with that, I will be cutting to our analyst desk of Loco Pojo and Jay Knight to and they will take you guys out on an analysis of the top 8 and of the Swiss overall with some stats. Thank you, everyone, for watching once again.
Thank you so much for that, Rikenner. This is Loco Pocho, and
this is Jay Knight.
Hey, and welcome back. We're just finishing off a really exciting series of rounds, like a real nail biter on that last one. Looks like Infernal Tyrant was just instrumental in victory, which is always nice to see. A lot of good representation from a lot of different decks in this particular list, and I think it was some really exciting games. How are you feeling about it, Jay Knight?
Oh man, that last game especially, I saw the backward enforcers just flying over, threatening the lethal, and then all of a sudden that Infernal Titan came down and wrapped it all up just over time. But I'd say that as a tournament overall, well, it's been really interesting, especially considering all the different types of decks that made it to the top 8, and especially all the people that did so well in Swiss that ended up actually losing in the first round of the top 8, and some unexpected people make it to the finals. Our 2 finalists were new to the ETS entirely.
Yeah, completely new. So first time ETS and first time finalists, and they're both getting invites to the Invitational. So
Yes,
pretty exciting stuff. I was definitely rooting for that Stone Scar Maulers list in the quarters, but something else with the Stone Scar Maul made it to the finals and managed to pull a win. Really, really fun, tense game. So it was exciting to see Stone Scar Maul come out there for exact lethal against Smooney in the semifinals. Exactly. Lots of really interesting stuff going on there. Yeah, so we had a really fun series of matches. Overall, like very good representation. We had Felnscar Control with something like 48% here. We had a lot of like really good decks going on. So yeah, let's see here.
What was interesting is that Shadowfire, he made it to the top 8, and he was the only person in Swiss to go 6-0, and he was piloting the Felnscar list, despite the fact that the deck type overall went 48%, which is very impressive piloting on his part.
22 out of 24 games were won, and Shadowfire, of course, won 6 of those, so contributed pretty significantly to that win rate.
Right. Yeah. So, and also we saw a showing of Armory from Captain D, as well as some Haunting Scream deck from Rewind, Smune on TPJ Control, and Canada on Combat Aggro, as well as Felnscar mid-range from Catalyst and Jocked. So that was it's actually about 6 different decks overall.
It's always good to see Haunting Scream break into the top 8. It's a very basic, simple deck that's really easy to build. So good to see like some tournament level competitiveness from that. And yeah, overall, like definitely we saw a lot of good showing from our tournament winner. Congratulations, by the way, to Jocked for running 2-1 in 2 extremely tense games against some nasty Combre competitors, and it's really taken those games away. Pretty exciting times for our first-time ETS player.
Yeah, and Combre, especially the Combre aggro lists, there hasn't been too much of it recently, as we saw the newest tier list on aReNGee Eternal put it a little bit lower this time because of the reduced popularity, but as you can see, it is still quite the good variant of Combre in the end, with our second place, our finalists, Canada, piloting it to quite a good finish as well.
Yeah, it can especially be a very tough matchup for those Stone Scar decks. There's a lot to be said about how the Seraphs and other things allow them to just resist damage in a way that really makes Stone Scar, kind of have to fight for it.
And especially the interesting inclusion of the Copper Conduit that we saw really come out in that last match as well, in that Combre in Canada's deck list.
Yeah, much excitement there. So let's see here. Are we wrapping things up here? I think if you have anything more to say, we can certainly go ahead and offer it now.
Yeah, well, let's say just in general, of course, as earlier we were talking about, it seemed that there was a lot more mid-range style control decks, and especially those did end up making it to the finals. So it seems that might be here to stay for a while as the new meta, but we'll have to see. The meta has been shifting quite rapidly in these first few weeks of open beta.
It's true. It's entirely possible that this mid-range adaptation is entirely in response to the previous decks that were occurring. The winning of Felnscar in the previous round might have really contributed to that. So maybe we'll see another big shift next week. Certainly, you guys can tune in to see. We'll be excited to have you here. If you're interested you can always follow aReNGee Eternal. Like, just smash that like button or smash that follow button and give us a little bit of love. But yeah, we'll be back for that in next week.
Of course. And I'd like to, again, thanks to everybody for watching. It was great. So many people came out today and so much positive feedback. And we're going to go ahead and send you to a little screen where you can see everybody who worked on this and give them some appreciation as well.
Indeed. Congratulations to all of our top 8 finalists, especially our top 2. Really glad that Jocked and can join us in the Invitational, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. I have been Loco Pocha.
I've been J-Knight.
Right, and this is aReNGee Eternal stream. So see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye.